Good morning, America, how are you?
It has been quite a first week for President Donald Trump with quick action, including on his promised wall on the Mexican border. We say good morning to House Homeland Security Committee Chairman Congressman Michael McCaul of Texas, live in Philadelphia, where Republicans are going to be plotting strategy with the president today. So can he build this wall without Congress weighing in? I thought you guys were the ones who had to write the checks.
No, he cannot. I think we saw President Obama try to operate on his own without Congress. It doesn't work that way under the Constitution. We will be working with him on this executive order to implement it into law. The Secure Fence Act that passed out of my committee provides the authorities to the Secretary to build this physical barrier, but he will also need the money to pay for that, which I assume will probably come out of some sort of emergency border supplemental bill that I think we could vote in the Congress as early as February on this.
We got 2,000 miles of border across 4 states. Half of that, 2,000 miles roughly, is in Texas. Does it all have to be the big, beautiful, impenetrable fence or wall that he has promised? Because all that's going to cross in a lot of that, as you well know from being in Texas, is jackrabbits and snakes.
Yeah, I think we in Texas have a different perspective of things that others from the Northeast may not have never been down to the border to see it. I will be working with the Secretary of Homeland Security and the President and the appropriators to determine how this physical barrier, it will be a multi-layered approach that involves both fencing, some bricks and mortar at places, but also a lot of aviation technology. What we want, Tim, is a lot of visibility from the sky so we can see 100% of the border, so we know where the threats are coming in and know where to stop them. And I think that's kind of key. I've already talked to the Secretary about this extensively yesterday, and I plan to go down to the border with him. And really kind of, we're going to go through this sector by sector to determine where the needs are to best secure this border. But we are going to secure it once and for all.
Right. But again, as you're pointing out, not one big, long, solid wall for 2,000 miles. So the president also wants 5,000 more Border Patrol agents, 10,000 more ICE agents. And I guess my question is, if we got the wall, we have a physical barrier, electronic barrier, whatever it is, first, do we need all those? And secondly, could the state of Texas save about $1 billion a year and pull those state troopers who are down on the border off?
Well, you know, that's another discussion, is reimbursement to the state of Texas for the role the National Guard has played down there, and also the state troopers. It's a federal responsibility. The federal government should be paying for this, not the state of Texas. And so we'll be having discussions on that as well as we appropriate this emergency supplemental bill. But that's why I think what you want to do, ideally, Tim, is rotate. While the Guard, I think, needs to play a necessary role down there, eventually what you really want is Border Patrol down there, and the Guard is more there on a temporary basis. So those are all things we'll be looking at.
The president also talking about stripping some federal funding from sanctuary cities. You've got one in your district in Austin. You bump right up to another one, Houston. You know, those are cities that you represent, and yet the president's talking about taking away who knows how much federal money.
Well, I think we need to also define what is a sanctuary city. I think certainly if there's a federal ICE detainer on a criminal alien, that needs to be honored by the local law enforcement. What we saw in San Francisco was a sheriff who released a criminal alien who then went out and killed a 19-year-old beautiful woman. And that's the kind of thing we don't want to see, and we don't have tolerance for that. So I would define it that way, that those have to be honored. And so we're also going to be looking at, on the appropriations side, the grant monies that we give to cities, major cities, through both the Department of Homeland Security and Justice Department. You need to comply with federal law. And if you don't, it will disqualify you from federal funding. I know that's going to be a tough debate, and I know it's going to be hard in a lot of cities across the nation, but I think we have to have some law and order in this nation.
Congressman Michael McCaul, I appreciate your time. You always do answer the questions, which in your business is sometimes kind of a rare treat for those of us in my business.
A rarity.
So thank you so much for joining us. 28 minutes after.
I'm always honest. You may not like my answer, but I'm always honest with you. So thank you so much,
We
Tim.
appreciate that.